Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with another of the group stage races. Tonight, we are going to be featuring DLP316, the undefeated leader of the current standings in Group L, looking for a perfect night. This will be his third and last match of the groups. So if he can take both of these, he is going to be undefeated, obviously moving on for the next set in the standings, and we'll be looking for a really good seed in that regard. Meanwhile, DaveLindo has already played one game. He's going to be looking for a couple of wins as well, because definitely some wins here would certainly mean a slot at possibly a second, maybe even a first, depending on how he can get through these matches. So looking like a really, really good matchup here so far. I, of course, on commentary am your host, Growlwolf, tonight. On behalf of SpeedGaming 4, we'd like to welcome you here. If you have been watching the SpeedGaming channel, there is currently a race going on there from Crowd Control, and that is the Haxer versus Mitch Flower Power. Definitely entertaining, and if you want to give them a frog suit, go right ahead. Our runners are going to be getting started here in just one moment. Again, we're going to be on the Group L. So that means there are 44 racers that are currently in this tournament, and I got to tell you, that alone is exciting to me. A little bit of love in the comms. I definitely, or in the chat. I apologize. Definitely appreciate that. So I just have to say hi to Cass and Titus, Human Mustard, Zero Wing. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And our first world, we're going to be starting here. Oh, I was corrected. It's actually 48 runners. I don't know how to do math. That's okay. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to talk and entertain you tonight. So World 7 is going to be our very first start here. We have DLP316 and DaveLindo, both going after the exact same route here so far. And really just not a whole lot of divergence here, and really no way to have any divergence here. Both guys picking up a mushroom here. I think that's a really good decision. DaveLindo deciding to go back for a block that he can pick up and chuck at some Goombas. Unfortunately, does take a little bit of damage there from the Paragoombas, and is going to miss the H jump as well. Had a little bit of an issue with the Paratrooper there, and unfortunately does come right back and take him for his first death. Meanwhile, DLP316 is going to be going after his next pipe to see really if he could just find the third island at this point. And he has. Now this is a turning group 2 no in card. Now what that means is that hammers will break locks, but they're not going to be able to find them from the in card. So every 80,000 points, there is a in card game that most of you are very familiar with so far, I'm sure. And the in card game is going to allow you the chance of making pairs on the screen. So there's, I believe, 18 cards, so you'll be able to make 9 pairs, and normally in the game there are 8 sets to choose from, and you'll get items whatever they are. So if it's 20 coins and you match that, you'll get 20 coins, obviously. Well, in Randomizer we obviously don't like that. That's not random enough. So instead of 8 possible cards, we have endless. It's a randomizer. We randomize it. It could be anywhere in the card map. You just got to find them. You've got to make matches. And we've also not told you what you're going to get. So there's a possibility you could get a frog suit by matching 220 coins. Or you could get a flower. It doesn't matter. You don't have a chance here. You're not going to get the in-card game because these guys wanted it turned off. So that means if you want items, you're going to have to go after a Toad House. You're going to have to go after Boomerang Brothers. And you're going to have to go through the secret items in some of the stages, such as 1-3 and 1 Fortress 1. So really just a lot of things going on here. Dave, unfortunately, taking a 6F2 death there. He is Small Mario, so he's going to have to be just a little careful, especially considering that a star is the only item that you're going to get at the beginning here. We'll see if the second item is any better. Meanwhile, DLP316 has already discovered that 6F2 is the one that breaks the lock. So now he is going to be taking care of the piranhas, and he's moving on to the conductor of chaos, the maestro of mayhem, the very own Ludwig von Koopa. DLP316 using a beautiful P-wing strat, or P-speed strat, I should say, to get through his airship, and unfortunately does lose the P-speed, but not before he's able to finish off the level with just enough momentum And with that, he is going to take a Fire Flower into the fight with Ludwig. Not a bad decision. A little bit of a rocky road for him to try to get a fire kill on. Looks like it's already going to be 2 jumps, 3. Looks like it was either 3 or 4 jumps. I think I might have missed it there. I had a kitten trying to nibble on me, so I do apologize about that. Meanwhile, DaveLindo is hot on his tail with a hammer suit in the Piranha. We have a hot take already in the chat from Human Mustard. He says, we are watching the winner of the tournament right here. Well, I sure hope you're right. This is definitely a fantastic display so far. Dave having a really just a little bit of a difficult time on World 7. No big deal, though. You know, there is a lot of life left in this randomizer run, and it's got a lot to go. So honestly, it's anybody's game at this point, and really, you know, there is a good chance that both of these guys could go on. You know, DaveLindo has only played one of his games so far, and that was against J-Lo. The second was postponed because of some technical difficulties, but I do believe that's coming up tomorrow night. So you want to be back on actually SpeedGaming 4, so on this channel tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then right after that, over on SpeedGaming, you could join me on the match of DaveLindo versus J-Lo, and I will be commentating that as well. So definitely don't want to miss the action. There's going to be a lot of really, really good things happening. And honestly, if DaveLindo can possibly take a split here or beat DLP316 both times, that's going to be a very powerful move for him and will definitely propel him into the next stage of this tournament. Obviously, you're going to want to do it as well as you can. You want to have as much as you can get in the early parts of this, because if you can get yourself in a good place, then you're going to be able to seed yourself better. You're going to be able to go further in the tournament and not take on maybe some of the more difficult opponents right off the bat. But honestly, everybody's got a weakness. Sometimes randomizer finds it and exploits it. So at this point, a lot of good things could happen for either of these guys. DaveLindo going in with the tail had just a little bit of an issue keeping it, but that's no big deal. He's going to wait for the thwomp. I think that's a good move. Meanwhile, DLP316 utilizing some star strats on the very first level of World 4. That's going to work out just fine for him as he finishes off the level here. DaveLindo just about maybe a level away from him, and he, of course, will be looking for the fight with Iggy here momentarily as well. It looks like there's going to be one more level than a pipe, and then that pipe should take them to the other fortress, which should be the second of World 4's fortress. That's a mouthful. Don't try saying that 3 times fast. Or you can, I'm not your mom. Either way, DLP316 looks like he is going to go for one of those hidden items that we talked about in one of the stages, and that, of course, is World 1's 3rd level. And he will get the token that says, "One toot on this whistle will send you to a faraway land." Now, unfortunately for DLP316, that cannot be a warp whistle. Fortunately for us, though, it cannot be a warp whistle. They have turned off warps, warpless, anything like it is a warpless run, and if you want to think about it in terms of speed running, it is a any percent run, meaning that there are no wrong warps, there are no warp whistles, there is no way you're going to skip a world. You have to play all 7 of them, and of course at the very end you're going to have to take on World 8, figure out the puzzle that is World 8, and take on the big boss Bowser at the very end. And as soon as you do that and the big Bowser falls, whoever gets in that door first wins. And that is how you win our game today. And if you can do that, you're going to be the winner. DaveLindo deciding not to take the Tanuki suit, I believe, that DLP316 got. And he is going to instead take a star and get a little bit of fanfare. He also decides to take a Hammer Brother here. I don't hate this decision. I believe items at this point are a very good idea, and DLP also took that Boomerang Brother as well. Definitely feeling a little bit of a burden, not having enough items, and will go after the Cloud. DaveLindo, not realizing that those pipes were linked, used a Cloud early. Oh, you hate to see it. You really hate to see it. That's, you know, there's just a lot going on. DaveLindo knows the power and the kind of runner that DLP316 is. Honestly, you know, DLP is no slouch to this game. There's a reason he's 4-0 right now, and I think DaveLindo just having a little bit of an issue just keeping everything in line at this point. I know he's got a couple of deaths currently in this game so far, but you can't let that deter you. You cannot let that stop you. You have to continue to do well. You have to continue to play well, and you have to make sure that your mental game is where it needs to be. Hopefully we can see Dave come back from that. It looks like he has realized his mistake there and was able to utilize the pipes to come back. So fortunately for him, he did not use both of his clouds there, but does take a death early on in the airship, meaning he will have to play that again. And actually, we'll have to go through a couple of scene transitions as well to get back there. DLP316 does find a fire flower, but will not take it because it's a little dangerous to try to get to. He does become Small Mario as he looks to his fight with Boom Boom. Meanwhile, DaveLindo picks up a mushroom as he continues on through this World 2 port, or airship, I should say. And of course, at the end of it, it's going to be Iggy. And we will see what this earthquakey Iggy has to say about DaveLindo. We'll see what happens there. Of course, we have DLP still in World 6. He decides to bypass the fortress where a pipe usually would be, and instead he finds himself in 8-2. Does not take the Sand of Shame. He will go on over. And so far, it looks like a pretty regular World 8-2, I should say. There is an Angry Sun, so it is a very regular World 8 level 2. He does lose the Tanuki suit, no big deal. He is just about through, and we'll take a long jump into the second block, and we'll finish off this level here in just a moment. Narrowly avoiding the Angry Sun, but does so easy. DLP316 moving on, still trying to figure out what he wants to do. He does have a coin ship, with there being a serious lack of items because of the end card game not being available. He is in fact going to take on a couple of the Boomerang brothers who are waiting for him at the very end of the coin ship, and he will get a star for his efforts. Not a bad item. A star is a real nice way to get into a level and kind of get moving quickly before the star runs out, especially if you find yourself in a fortress like 7F2 or something that poses a pretty serious threat right off the bat. DLP316 locating that first pipe realizes it is the one behind the rock. That is not going to be much of a factor for him at all. DaveLindo finding 8-2 just like DLP316 did. That means he's going to go ahead and play, and looking good so far. Hopefully he can keep these speed strats up. It looks good. He looks good through the note blocks. He's going to be climbing up the hill in just a moment. So far so good with the piranhas, no big deal there. Looking like an old-fashioned pro here. Good, a great jump onto the first block. One last jump, and he is through 8-2. Meanwhile, DLP316 is through his as well. And again, just about a level apart. All this, of course, could go away as soon as an item is found. Therefore, if a hammer is located or an extra cloud is located, DaveLindo just a little bit behind in that regard now because he did use that cloud early. And of course, that will be something that we will be checking in on. A P-Wing for DLP316 and DaveLindo locating that star we saw just a moment ago on DLP's screen. And that will be the last Hammer Brother on the side of DLP316, and for that he will get one more Power Wing, and that could be used at a later time. We'll expect to see those when the airships start to come around, and he'll be looking for an off-screen wall grab. That'll be something that DLP316 typically does, and we'll continue to see if he does that here today. Absolutely. So Domino BM with a good point out. When World 5 isn't World 5, there are no vanilla worlds this time. I'm going to be completely honest, I'm perfectly fine with that. I like a little bit of a shake-up. We've had 7, 4, and 6 so far, and a lot still to play. So, you know, we'll wait and see if that happens. DLP316 with a 7-6. We'll see if he can get that clip here real quick. And also, Mini Guy DP, you are absolutely correct. You cannot forget that DLP has an extra cloud, and he has a clip. So only about 4 or 5 tries for him. Still a fantastic time to get through World 7-6. And that will mean that he continues to move on. Meanwhile, DaveLindo going to be playing 7-4, I believe. And will, oh, nice jump there. A couple nice jumps. Kind of halted just a little bit on that last one. Didn't really want to go too far and wind up possibly being in a place you don't want to be. Meanwhile, he is looking good on the rest of this, and oh, damage with the last two, but that is the end for both Lakitu and that level. DLP316, meanwhile, looking like he wants to go for some items, go for some coins, no big deal here. And DaveLindo trying to decide what he wants to do. He's going to take the one on the right. Both of them should give him a power wing, so no big loss there. DLP316 with a little bit of an incentive with a fire flower. So that's going to be a little bit of insurance, I should say. DaveLindo deciding to go ahead and forego the other one. Fortunately for him, that is another power wing, so shouldn't be too much of a loss there, hopefully. DaveLindo looking like a Tanuki suit clip. Hopefully he gets it here in just a one moment. DLP316 on the 7-8 decides to take the option to go ahead and despawn this boss back. I cannot fault him at all for that. I think that's a great decision. The item itself was not valuable. He already had a mushroom, but what was valuable is the fact that he got more than halfway through the level and he didn't have to play with the boss pass. DaveLindo with the Tanuki suit having just a little bit of an issue with 7-6. And we'll see if he's able to get this. It's not very easy. It doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes when we talk about it, because if you do have a Tanuki suit or a tail in general, the clip itself is a little bit skewed because of the way that Mario operates and moves and works with the tail. So he did have a little bit of trouble with that. Did actually get through it though, and we'll be moving on. If he can hold on to that Tanuki suit though, I think this is a fantastic opportunity for him to catch up just a little bit. Because DLP316 did start the level without the Tanuki suit and had to go back and get a power wing that he found earlier and is now through Fort Knox and will be moving on shortly after this fight with Boom Boom. And of course, I do believe that could be the fortress that breaks the lock to Fort Knox. If not, these guys are going to have to go all the way back. It is the one that breaks Fort Knox, or if Fort Knox broke that lock. Try saying that 3 times fast. That is not fun. And that's going to be the end of it. World 3's airships coming up. Limmy's going to be at the end of it. And yes, Human Mustard. Hammers do break locks. These guys opted to play Turning Group 2 without a in-card game. Everything else is operational, is working, is perfectly fine. We've randomized pretty much everything else. Just no in-card. These guys don't get an in-card. That's not going to work. DaveLindo with just a little bit of a hiccup here on the start of 7-8, and looks like he's just kind of trying to play it a little bit safe. Really, he needs to get into that pipe and get through to his next level. Meanwhile, DLP316 with a nice off-screen. Oh, I apologize. He did not get the off-screen one grab. That is going to cost him just a little bit extra in time, but he is still in the lead, and we are coming up to our very next world. Anyone who's a fan of Up will recognize that line. My name is King. I just hit you, and I love you. DaveLindo currently about to find 7F2. He is debating right now what he wants to do. I fully expect him to play this one because why not? He is going to have to go after a tail, though. He does not have an item. He was unable to hold on to that tail from before, so he will have to go the long way. It's unfortunate, but he does have to get through it, and at this point, you just go. Make it count. Make it happen. So DaveLindo will be going on and finding his tail. Meanwhile, DLP316 also trying to use the tail to get through the remainder of World 1-6. And will do so without any further issue. He will glide to the end and find himself a flower in the cards. DaveLindo now just waiting for the P switch to time out, and he'll be able to fall down, get some coins, get a Tanuki suit, and move on in this world. Earlier, we were talking about DaveLindo looked like he was possibly thinking about going back, as he did see 2 locks, and the other fortress at the beginning of the world could have been the required one. Of course, Dave, not knowing that, decided to go ahead and play 7F2. I think that's a very wise decision, and really, it's the only decision. You've already got a fortress in your way. You know the pipes are going to be linked right there, so you might as well just play it. It's basically in your way. If not, you have to go all the way back, play a fortress, and come all the way back. And if you're wrong, you've just wasted a lot of time in transitions, not just going back and playing a fortress, which could have been 7F2. Golly, the speedrun is going absolutely fantastic so far. We've got DLP316 and DaveLindo facing it off in a Group L stage randomizer run. DaveLindo just a little bit behind a level or 2. DLP316 working on World 3's Fortress 1, And of course, in World 3, not exactly in the right spot, but close enough. DaveLindo currently working through this 5-hit Limmy. Not a terrible Koopaline to have a real nice 5-hitter on, and no big deal, so he's able to get through that. DLP316 got 3 pipes on the left-hand side. Alright, I do appreciate that. Callus, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for telling me how to pronounce your name. I do apologize. I am sometimes terrible at pronouncing names. Sometimes I get it, but most of the time I don't, so thank you so much for that. I will make sure to remember that. And so far, so good. So DaveLindo finishing up his world, and DLP316 just kind of making short work of these things. DaveLindo kind of doing the same recon game that we have DLP doing. And with those other 2 pipes, those were connected, which DaveLindo is about to find out as well. So he will be playing probably the same port that DLP does. Likely he will not go astray from that. That's really just the quickest option at this point, I believe. We'll have to take another look at the right side of the map after DLP316 gets through 5-8. He has done so in beautiful fashion. Meanwhile, DaveLindo is finishing up 1-6. And that, of course, was the end for DLP316, and that is going to be a windy now. Now, I have not been able to do this very much because this is going pretty quickly, especially with 2 runners and 1 commentator. So, get your guesses in. What is the next world? Personally, I think it's got to be the desert. I think we went out of the ocean, and we're going to go into the desert, and we'll be on a horse with no name. So, we'll continue on from there. DaveLindo using a pretty good P-strat to get through 3-2. That will run out if you don't use the P speed or the P switch there. It's pretty hard to continue that P speed, I should say. A lot of P's. I believe it all stands for power, but I don't know why we just use P all the time. Anyway, so DaveLindo finishing up. DLP316 finishing his world. DaveLindo will be taking on the fortress here after the Hammer Brother. Looks like Dave has opted to go ahead and bypass the fortress. I think that's a very interesting move. Hopefully that doesn't interfere with him at all getting to Windy. Obviously the pipe was unavailable, which means the fort itself was actually not required, but it would make it, I think, quicker. So we'll have to see if this worked out for him. Eventually it will. I don't know if it'll be any quicker or not. Meanwhile, DLP316 having a little bit of trouble with 2-5. A couple of rogue enemies decided to get in his way, but that will be the end of it, and he will finish off this with no further issues. 3 more levels do separate DaveLindo from the pipe he needs to get to Windy. I find this, again, just a little bit interesting, but I guess not really a big difference. And he will play 3-6 here. Atlantis has been found. DLP316 going to be making great work of those clouds that he has, and oh, interesting. So he does have 2 clouds. We'll see if he decides to use both. Taking a game over here is possible. Okay, and the anchor is a music box. I agree with Human Mustard. I do believe Human Mustard has mentioned the double cloud, and that is true. I think that's a very good play here. A cloud and then a game over would be a good option because then you save a cloud. The only problem though is that you have to die 8 times as DLP316 and currently 10 times as DaveLindo, and that is a huge time waste. Since they're not going to be able to do a game over, you either have to play Atlantis or use a double cloud, and I think I know which one DLP316 will use. And yes, Atlantis is that scary. It is worth using 2 clouds on, in my opinion, especially to continue moving on in this. But you've already got the fortress beat, so you're not going to have to play it again. The bridge will always be there in case you have a game over or anything like that. And we're looking good so far on the side of DLP316. Unfortunately, DaveLindo did just have an issue with 5-8. He's going to have to go back and play it again. Hopefully he gets through it this time. And yes, Callus has asked in chat if anyone has ever cleared Atlantis. The answer is yes, absolutely. There have been times where Atlantis was completely unavoidable, either because the clouds weren't an option, there was a possibility they couldn't get around it. Whatever the case was, it is definitely a requirement. In fact, the last couple of commentaries I've done all had required Atlantises, or they've at least appeared. So that tells you what kind of a roller I am. And I'm going to be reassigned at some point, so I need you viewers to like tell people that it's good to have me, you know, doing these, because we like seeing Atlantis. I like seeing Atlantis. I think it's hilarious. Regardless, DLP316, using the hammer, getting the hammer. I believe that's his third now, so I expect this second half of the seed to go very quickly. DLP316 not okay, was able to use a paradox pipe to completely avoid using a hammer altogether. DaveLindo making his way through Windy, and that is going to be the end of it. A terrifying fight with Small Mario, but really, no big deal. He was able to get through it just fine, and he will be moving on to World 5 as well. I would also like to remind you that this is race 1 of 2. It is not a best of 3 because this is a group stage. Each of the groups contain 4 people. All 4 people have to play all the other runners twice. So DLP316 is playing DaveLindo twice. DaveLindo will play JLo twice. DaveLindo will also play the 4th player in their group twice. So all of these racers will race each other 2 times. So the best score you can have is a 6-0, obviously. And then, of course, the 2 best of the groups will be moving on to the bracket stages of the tournament. DaveLindo having a problem the exact same place the DLP did. Unfortunately, DaveLindo did not have a mushroom or something to keep him out of harm's way. He will rectify that this time and will take mushroom. And hopefully will not have any further issues with Paragoomba. To ensure this, he has brought a Koopa shell, which unfortunately did not help in the way he was hoping. Meanwhile, DLP316 is moving on and will be into our next world. I'm going to guess World 2. We're about to find out. And another hammer. Wow. So many hammers. I think that is the 4th one I've seen on the side of DLP316. Honestly, at this point, you just got to start using them. If you see a lock, just use it. I mean, hammers break locks, so you really don't want to have to go through it. And in answer to Callis's question, DaveLindo is about to play Atlantis. And this is because he did use a cloud early in World 4, opted to go ahead and use a cloud over a level, and unfortunately it was not a good place to use it. And because of that, we'll have to go through Atlantis because he cannot move on until that fortress is beaten. The bridge is open, and he is able to go to the other side to go up to the top. So the required Atlantis on the side of Dave, and he will be going through this here as quickly as possible. DLP316 utilizing a Starman, and will be going through the level, and done. DaveLindo still in the process of going to Atlantis. Atlantis and 5-9 are the 2 auto-scrollers still allowed in the game because the way that they're made up with the levels makes it so the levels cannot be beaten without being an auto-scroll because of the way that the screen moves up and down. 5-9 especially, like it's being spawned in, you have to be there at the right time in the right place. So those are the only 2 levels that we keep the auto-scroller on. Everything else, we don't care. Have fun, go fast. We want to see you go as fast as you can. And that is one of the big reasons why we can see a lot of times in like the 30-minute to 40-minute range. Basically anything from 30 to 40 minutes is considered a pretty good time, especially based on the seed. So far, a 27-minute seed. This has been a bit of a grueling, longer seed, but DLP is still making a really good time out of it. And DaveLindo currently finishing off, I believe, 5F2, and will be moving on as well in his ventures. And for the last world that we have before World 8, we have DLP316 entering World 2, and DaveLindo still trying to figure out the secret of the maze that is World 5. He will be doing his best to catch up here as well. And hopefully we can see a different Dave come out in the second game. I mean, he's been playing well. I think he's just been playing a little scared, and I think he's just got a few too many things in his head. Hopefully this race can be used to kind of get into the groove, take a breath, maybe figuratively or theoretically, but just really get yourself in the right mode. You're in a race mode, yeah, that's true. Nobody's telling you not to be that. But I think DaveLindo has a very real chance here. I've seen some really good things out of him thus far, and I'd really like to see what he can do in this next race. So hopefully we can get a really good time out of him, and he can continue to play well and kind of get more comfortable and in the groove. DLP316 finishing off his level, and we'll be moving up in this world too. Yeah, Mini Guy, I'm not sure. I just kind of have been regurgitating things I've been told at that point in regards to the auto-scroller. Personally, I think it just makes it a little bit more disgusting, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Like, Alliance is known for being a grueling task, and kind of a great equalizer in that regard. I mean, DaveLindo unfortunately did not have the 2 clouds available that DLP did. If it was the other way around, I think we'd see a bit of a closer race at this point. DaveLindo's still working on his task of cleaning out the right-hand side. He has a couple of boomerang, or hammer brothers, I should say, that are preventing him from moving on, but are no longer. Meanwhile, DLP316 has finished off the last level in World 2. He will take on the World 5 airship, will get a tail, and will be taking on our very own Milton Koopa here in just a brief moment. Now, as we enter World 8, we obviously know World 8 is next. And talking about 5-9, we found 5-9. So that's fun. Looks like DaveLindo's going to go ahead and take the 100-point fine, go ahead and back out of it. Hopefully realizes that there is a pipe that's connected to the tower, and we'll use that. It's a little bit awkward, especially for some of our vanilla friends. If you are used to using vanilla, you would go through the tower to get to the pipe, but that's not so here. We actually have it, so there's such a thing called a paradox pipe where you could go backwards through it, and instead of going up the tower like you're supposed to get to the second level, you could actually take the pipe back down, and normally in the game you would fall straight down. Well, in this case, not so. DaveLindo does not actually do that, and he does use, I believe, a second cloud there. And we'll go ahead and play 4-2 and hopefully finish this off here in just one moment. We would like to welcome the group from SpeedGaming 2. They've just rated a party of 102 people. Welcome. Hopefully you had a great race wherever you came from. We currently have DLP316 taking on DaveLindo. They're both part of Group L as part of the group stage with the randomizer tournament of Super Mario Brothers 3 Randomizer. So we have basically taken everything in the game, power-ups, we've taken the Koopalings, we have taken the level, we have taken their airships, we have taken just about anything that we could possibly find. We've thrown it in a giant bag, and we threw it out and watched to see what happened. So now these runners are taking on levels in the wrong places, the fortresses where they're not supposed to be, and the pipes that really don't make a lot of sense. And then we commentate on it, and we call it a race. So right now, these guys are currently taking on there's going to be 2 races. Both of those races are going to be recorded and put in the standings and everything. It's not a best of 3 or anything. It's all of the runners in the groups will play each other twice. So these are the 2 races between DLP316. DaveLindo has already played JLO once. There was some technical difficulties, so the second game wasn't put through. But tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have another race here on SpeedGaming 4. And right after that, well, just about right after that, sometimes the races are a little bit quicker, we are going to have another race over on SpeedGaming 1. And I believe I'm going to be commentating on that one. DaveLindo is going to be taking on JLO. It'll be just a single race. It'll be to finish off what they had started a few days ago. And we'll be excited to be there. So hopefully you'll meet us there. We'll look forward to seeing you. Also, as we enter World 8 here, looks like just a little bit of an issue on the side of DLP. Decides not to play the Air Force. I find that very interesting. That actually could be a required fortress. I'm surprised he didn't go back in and play. DaveLindo of World 1 currently doing his best to finish it off here in a moment. He will be taking on Larry shortly after, this level, and one bridge is all it's going to take to get to Bowser. So now he has done his recon. We'll be interested to see what he decides to do here. It looks like he's going to play the fortress first. He does have the carpet for it, so he is going to go ahead and utilize the star and get through this as quickly as he can. Human Mustard, I have the exact same question. I'm very curious why he checked it if he didn't want to play it, and if he did want to play it, why did he check it? I'm very confused. I have absolutely no idea. We might have to ask him later about that. But either way, he's decided he wants to play the carpet for it. He has done so. DaveLindo taking a rogue hammer to the face. And he'll have to play that Boomerang Brother again. It is going to be the Sledge Brothers once again. And they do like to go to the top, so as long as he's able to kind of stay in the middle there, keep himself off the ground. Unfortunately, just not quite enough. Yeah, I have to agree with Human Mustard again, Midi Guy. If he feels like he's behind, which I'm not sure why he would, he's made some really good plays so far. Really not a whole lot of things I think we can even say he could change. Why would you check Airport, which could be a fortress, and then not play it? Because anybody could have found that, and if it was the correct fortress, then it's still the one that you need to play. But I don't know, maybe he took it in inadvertent depth and realized, hey, wait a second, I don't really want to play this right now, I'll come back to it. So, I don't know. You know, maybe it was a free Bowser, maybe he wanted to check that first. Obviously, the runners kind of have their own flavor, their own decision. And, yeah, so it could be the bridge that goes to Bowser. We'll have to find out here in a moment. We'll see if he decides to go back and check that real quick. DaveLindo currently making his way through the longest airship at World 7th airship. And, of course, we have Larry currently waiting for him. And that is going to be an Earthquakey Lemmy. A hitbox on Larry. I think I said Lemmy, I apologize. Larry hitboxed him, meaning that when he opened up, the damage did not go through for Mario. And unfortunately, that does mean 2 more shots on Mario before DaveLindo is finally able to take down Larry. DLP316, meanwhile, has a hammer suit and is clipping through the wall. He was able to get the top of the escalator clip. And Blue is looking like he wants to have a little bit of a fight with him. DLP316 said, no, hammer to the face. And he will be taking on Bowser here in just one moment. Going for one more mac and cheese clip. He gets it. And that is going to spell pretty much the end of Bowser here in just about 30 seconds. Meanwhile, DaveLindo is on to the very last world before World 8, and that is World 2. DLP316 with a couple of hammers to hi Bowser, and he will be going into find his princess here in just one moment. Get your GGs out in chat. Callus, I am going to be completely honest. I don't have a clue. I'm going to say something about how it's a cheesy clip, how you're showing off at this point, how it's one of the most tasty things ever. But honestly, I don't have a clue. I really truly don't have a clue. It was called that before I got in, and that's what they called it, so that's what I call it too. If you've got a better name, we'd love to hear it. We might go ahead and entertain that, maybe see if it sticks. And yeah, we'll go from there. DLP316 has finished with a time of 36:22 officially in the race time channel. So definitely congratulations to him, GG. Okay, looks like it was just a random word that was said and then stopped. DLP316, I am back. I have rolled a great seed, I think, but you know, that is how it is. But that actually tends to be how I've been rolling mine lately. So if you, well, no, that's okay. I'm gonna roll the next one anyway. Now we are going to be going ahead and getting the second race put together. DLP316 did take that one, and DaveLindo unfortunately did just take a forfeit. He's decided to go ahead and move things along, and we will be starting the next race here in just a few minutes. So hold tight. If you need to go get some popcorn, go to the bathroom, get yourself a drink, do it now. We will be starting here in just one moment as soon as we get it set up. Okay, hold on. There's a 2 hour penalty. Oy, ooh, I think that is a terrible option. So I didn't realize this. I'm just kind of coming in. I just got started with comms again this last week. Apparently, if you forfeit, you get 2 hours added to you, or you get a 2 hour time. So if it comes down to who advances with the better times, that means that DaveLindo may not be moving on because a forfeit does mean 2 hours. Unfortunately, that could be a costly problem, even though it was a brutal seed, and I don't think anybody will say it wasn't. That, ooh, that's unfortunate, honestly. But anyway, it is what it is. He's made the decision. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him. He could still potentially go 5-1. I mean, he's only lost one so far. So we'll be looking for a turnaround in the second game, and we'll see if he's able to produce it. We'll look forward to that. We would like to welcome SpeedGaming 2. They have just raided with a party of 186. We want to welcome you as well. We just finished the first race of two between DLP316 and DaveLindo. We're getting the second race set up here, so we'll be getting going here in just a few moments. And stay tuned. We'll be explaining everything here in just a moment. I got to get these guys started, and then we'll be back with the action. Alrighty, we're going to be getting started here in just one more moment. The runners are currently syncing up and just making sure that, and I apologize, that was syncing. They're not actually doing a duet in the background. We might save that for interviews, we'll see. But we have another race that's going to be the Turning Group 2, no in cards. And these runners will be playing another seed that I've rolled. So it's anybody's guess as to how devious and detrimental it will be to them, but it looks like we will be getting started here in just one more moment or so. Both players do have to load up the game. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and get some guesses in for the first world, and let's see what we think. So any of the first 7 worlds could be beginning. It could be the very start. We do require the runners to go through all of the 8 worlds. The last one, of course, being World 8. We have to have Bowser at the very, very end. One thing it's for sure, and that is Bowser's Castle is at the very end. Basically, other than that, it's pretty much whatever happens. So items are going to be a little bit tricky to come by. Boomerang Brothers, toadstool houses, and the items that you can find within the levels, such as World 1-3, World 1's Fortress. A couple levels like that, they like to hold a few little items in the background, and we'll probably see some of those come out to play. Items are a little bit tricky to get. Usually a page of items is about all you'll see here, maybe 1.5, 2 at the very most. But we'll definitely see. We'll wait and see what these guys come up with. I expect DaveLindo to come out maybe a little bit more aggressive. It looked like he was having just a little bit of an issue getting started this last time. Hopefully, he's able to balance that out a little bit. He's shown some really good talent so far. Really expect to see a good race out of him this time. Hopefully, he can kind of relax a little bit, kind of reset, realize, look, it was one game, no big deal. It's time to move on. Meanwhile, DLP316, a veteran of the game, definitely a very talented player, a very talented racer. He's going to be looking for a second win. Currently, he is 5-0. He has not been beaten so far in the group stages. He's had some pretty good competition. Unfortunately, he's just a little bit faster. Or fortunately for him, I guess. He is a little bit faster. And that does mean he is currently 5-0 so far. So really just a great showing from DLP316 so far. And hopefully he can keep that up. And hopefully on the side of DaveLindo, we're able to see something a little bit more indicative of who he is. I think the last race, if anything can be said about it, was frustrating, I think, for him. So hopefully we can see DaveLindo come back and really just show what he can do. So we'll be getting these guys started here in just one moment. They are readying up now, and here in about a minute, we'll get these two guys underway, and we'll get the race number 2 started. All right, looks like we got a couple guesses. We got 2, 4, 6, 3. I'm gonna have to go with let's go with 5. We'll play just a little bit different. We'll go ahead and say 5, and we'll go from there. So, and also, if you have any questions, if you have anything you'd like to know about, please let me know, and I will be more than willing to do my best to answer it. And we will have a good time in this second race. Now, these guys are going to be getting started here in just one moment. The timer has started. Usually it takes just a moment for it to appear on the stream, so bear with us. As we get started, the hash on the right side, we have a flower, star, shell, 4K, and mushroom, and that appears to be good on both sides. So it is time to go. All right, looks like the only one that hasn't been guessed so far. Well, it looks like 2 and 5 have. Oh no, I apologize. We had 2. So if 5 comes up, we're all wrong. But you know, we'll come to that in a moment. So anyway, we are going to be getting started here anytime now. All right, looks like Right Unite has guessed 5, so somebody's going to be right. You don't win anything except for the satisfaction of knowing that you're absolutely correct, and we definitely are thankful and excited for that. Looks like World 3 is correct. So, Callus, congratulations. You won nothing, but you're right. So, well done. Interesting start here. Looks like DaveLindo and DLP316 obviously both going for the start. And I gotta be completely honest, it looks like we are watching the exact same screen here, except that the Marios are the different colors. Because we also randomized that, because that's, you know, what we do. Looks like they're going to be taking a little bit of a different strategy. DaveLindo says, I'm done with this level, I'm going to go on. Meanwhile, DLP316 did take a little bit of a detour, did not get an item that he wanted, and he will be going on a little bit empty-handed. So a little bit of time lost there, no big deal. DaveLindo, the first one into the pyramid level, does take a shoe to the face into that Karibo shoe, and we'll have to start over. Meanwhile, DLP316 now starting as well, and just like that, we are really close so far. All right, we got confirmation from the very own Pro-A, who is the tournament manager as well as a runner and coordinator, and basically any other hat that you want to possibly pin on him for putting together a run or this tournament, you probably could, and it's probably in there somewhere. DLP316 having just a little bit of an issue getting through this pyramid, and just like that, we have DaveLindo exiting the level again first, and he will be the first one to this fortress. He is onto the escalator forward, and it looks like a win from DLP likely will make him the top seed so far among the bracket qualifiers. Now, if you would like to know what that means that Mitch Firepower, who's already played, the Haxer, who's still working on his, some guys that are big in the SpeedGaming community, DLP is likely that fast, which means he is faster than those guys and will be one of the top seeds, meaning that he gets the lowest seed going forward, which I believe will follow traditional tournament settings. So, a lot on the stake here for DLP316. We'll look for some really good plays. Really, we'll just watch to see DLP do what he wants to do, and that is go fast. And We'll definitely be looking for that, and we'll look to see if DaveLindo is able to play spoiler here. And a very quick jet, World 3, 2.5 minutes. DaveLindo is already on the airship. He does have a star. He's on World 2's airship, and he's going to be getting through this as quickly as he can. Makobra and Mitt are following up, and if you guys don't know those names, let me explain it to you. So those guys are both absolutely powerhouses in terms of the speedrunning community. 2 years ago, they fought in the finals of the randomizer tournament. Makobra took it. Last year, Mitch took it. Again, the same two people, and just absolutely fantastic runners in every right. Like, they're both really good in vanilla. They're both really good in randomizer. These guys are fantastic, and DLP is even faster than that. Wow, I mean, that's incredible. That is absolutely sensational. And DaveLindo is currently in the lead. So, I mean, welcome to randomizer. Like, what more could you possibly want? And if you do like the action, definitely give these guys a follow. I know they definitely appreciate the support. Going through the tournament really means a lot to them. It really means a lot to us. And having you here really means a lot to all of us as well. Definitely appreciate you all being here with me tonight. Chat makes this a lot more fun for me. It makes it a lot more fun for our runners. You know, just getting the involvement from you all is absolutely amazing. So definitely really appreciate that. So thank you again for being here. Also, we really appreciate SpeedGaming for putting this on with and for us. So really appreciate it. Thank you. Meanwhile, DaveLindo currently in World 4, just about a level ahead now. Not even, actually. He's about a level ahead at this point. He is currently working through 4-3, playing just a little bit safe here. I don't disagree with that. You can go too fast sometimes. I know that's hard to admit, but you can go too fast. And if you go into something blind, then you could wind up with a death. And I think that Karibo's shield probably got into his head just a little bit. So he is going to play that just a little bit on the safer side, but he does get through the first time. So good. It's perfectly good. Tito the sadistic, they put Arcade, Dragon Flare to shame. Definitely a possibility. Yeah, we do have some pretty ridiculous seeds here. Atlantis was required last time. DLP got around it by using 2 clouds. DaveLindo went through it, and that will mean really that he just, you know, that is what it is. But we might see it again. We haven't seen 7-5 yet. We haven't seen 6-6 yet. So still a lot to play. Still a lot of things to go. I am checking into the issue with the volume being too loud. I don't believe I have the controls to change that, so I'm going to go ahead and talk to the SpeedGaming group real quick if we're able to get that rectified here real fast for you all. All right, I went ahead and I switched the audio over from DLP to DaveLindo. Hopefully that works a little better. If you will let me know in chat, I would definitely appreciate it. DaveLindo currently finishing off 3-6 here, and will be moving on shortly afterwards. DLP316 grabbing a Fire Flower. That's a really good item to have, especially in a fortress, because that does mean a quick boom boom kill. With all those Boomerang Brothers, we do have a little bit of change of leadership. We'll see if that changes here in just moments. All right, much better, can hear all of me now. Let me know if you want me to change it back, if you don't want to hear all of me now, and that'll be okay. We'll go with that. Anyway, so DaveLindo just moments behind DLP. Literally the only difference was that Boomerang Brother, which DLP will now play. So DaveLindo and DLP pretty much in sync at this point. Will be entering the top of the airship here in moments. Now both of our runners onto the World 7 airship. Dave opting to take a P-Wing. I don't hate that. I think World 7's airship is long enough. It's a little bit nuisance anyway. And DLP, the first one into his fight with Iggy. It looks like not an earthquakey Iggy so far. 2 shots, 3 shots. He's still going for the fire kill. It's just not boding well for him. Looks like it was 3 shots and he was able to get the fire kill. So Dave is going to have to deal with like a 4 or 5 hit Iggy. Oh, and unfortunately was not able to land the off-screen wand grab. So that will mean he does lose a few seconds as he does fall down the screen, because instead of Mario getting the off-screen wand grab, he does have to fall with the animation. So regardless, the off-screen wand grab, I keep talking about that, maybe I should explain it real quick. If you have the ability, and sometimes there's a couple different ways to do this, you can either fly, or you could clip into the wall and then jump over to grab it. But if you are just about halfway off of the screen when you grab the wand, the way that SMB3, oh no, DaveLindo did not get the P-Speed strat there. He was not able to build up enough quickness, and unfortunately does take an early exit there, and will have to play this level over again. Meanwhile, DLP316 does still have the fire flower, and he is going to be able to burn through his boom boom fight and will be moving on in World 6. He does have a free pipe, and knowing DLP, he opts to take the Hammer Brother first. I'd be surprised if he plays the fort right afterwards, though. He tends to like to know what's going on before he commits to really any routing changes as far as like playing a fortress or things like that. So now all 4 forts, or all 4 pipes I should say, have been located, and there is a free lock, meaning that a fortress is simply not going to be required because the lock is not in the way. DaveLindo kind of playing the exact same thing here. Depending on what he wants to do, I think that's a little interesting. Looks like he's going to go ahead and play a level. Not sure I understand, but maybe he does it because he doesn't want to go through the Boomerang Brothers. Realizing his mistake, he goes ahead and takes a 100 coin fine. He will go ahead and go back and will go through a couple of Boomerang Brothers. I think that's a wise... Oh, okay, he decides to use a scene transition to get through without playing the Boomerang Brothers. DaveLindo is such a talented player. He knows his strengths, he knows his weaknesses, and he's really risking not playing a lot of Boomerang Brothers, which, if it's only mushrooms and stars, is not going to really hurt him. But if he does not get those, and they are hammers or clouds, that is going to be a bit of a big upset. And now both runners once again synced up. What a fight! This is being really excited so far, and we're just in World 3. We got a long way to go and a lot more excitement. So as I was saying with the off-screen wand grab, the way that the game functions and operates is it sees the game as almost being like a circle. So what happens at the very top can also be affected on the very bottom. It believes you're there. And if you are... Oh my, DaveLindo now blazing through low level takes a fanfare, which will give him 5 extra lives, which I think is a good idea. He can play a little bit more aggressively and also have the option for taking an early exit out of a level, and in return he does not get a leaf. So really a good bet on his part. I think that's a really good decision. Meanwhile, we do enter 2-3, and there is a boss bass. Both runners equipped with a star, or with a fire flower, and have the option to dispose of that boss bass if he gets in the way, which apparently he does. And now both are going to be finishing off here in just one moment. They're going to have to get through the Koopa, and because DaveLindo did take that shot at boss bass earlier, now he is in the way, but the Koopa shell should be able to take care of that for him. And here in just one moment, he will be getting through where DLP just did as well. So now both runners getting through 2-3. And back to the off-screen wand grab, because we will see that come again. If you're far enough off the screen recognizes you as being at the bottom. So instead of you falling all the way down the screen, you actually just like basically teleport to the bottom, and that's the end of the cutscene. Now DaveLindo has opted to use a cloud. What a play. He is now onto World 5's airship and will be taking on Limmy here in just about 30 seconds. Go ahead, this is a great time to go ahead and get your guesses in for what world is coming up next. I'm gonna have to go with World 1. I think it would be an interesting thing to see at this point. I mean, all of them will be, but we'll get one of them for sure. Lemmy, not a terrible Koopaline to fight with a small Mario. Definitely a lot worse. I personally do not like facing Wendy. And it is going to be another 5-hit Lemmy. Fortunately, DaveLindo was playing just a little bit patiently, and that does mean that he gets through the fight without having to play it again. Meanwhile, DLP316 will be going through a fire kill, and he will dispose of Lemmy a lot quicker. Folks, we got ourselves a race. We are now entering World 4. We will be entering at approximately 13:40, 13:35. Here in about another 10, 15 seconds, we'll be there. We have a few guesses in chat, mainly from Sarah Fantastic, who's changed their mind 3 times. That is perfectly okay. You should have stuck with 5 because that is what's up next. And the very first level we have is a fortress and happens to be World 7. Also known as Fort Knox, because as soon as you hit a P-switch hidden in the blocks, you are able to get a whole bunch of coins right off the bat. DLP316 opting not to play the P-switch. I think that's a little interesting. He does decide to take the early exit. I find that very interesting. He would actually be ahead now if he had went ahead and just gone after the P-switch, because that's exactly what DaveLindo would have had to have done. And I digress. He actually is ahead. The only difference is he decided to use a P-wing. So he is ahead by, I don't know, 30 seconds, if that. Where DaveLindo is now going to be going and fighting the exact same Boo Boo here in just a moment. Goodness, it's so close. It is so close. It's impossible to tell at this point. I think the only thing it's going to come down to, unfortunately, DaveLindo had a bonk on the jump there. That's the technical term. Basically, he ran into the side of a Boo carpet, and he will have to take another flight pattern there. But of course, the fight with Boom Boom, no big deal. And DLP will go through World 1's first level. The very first one, as soon as you take out the NES cartridge, maybe blowing it if you have to, click it in, turn it on, and get ready to play. This is the very first level you'll find. However, this time we added an Angry Sun. DaveLindo now onto a hand level. I believe the second one with the sushi fish, or the Cheep Cheeps. I always call it sushi because of Paper Mario, so I apologize about that. Regardless, he does get through, and the very first level that we have seen of the hand levels is going to produce a hammer. Okay, very interesting, very exciting. I'm very interested to see what happens next, because DaveLindo just got a hammer, and hammers break locks. DLP did not play that level, therefore DLP does not have that hammer that DaveLindo does, and since Dave is now playing World 1's 1, he could play the Boomerang Brother right after and now have a hammer advantage. This is very interesting, because if he gets the hammer advantage, because hammer breaks locks, World 1 still hasn't been played. I don't believe World 2 has been played yet. We still have a lot of things to go, and a hammer advantage into the back half of this randomizer run would be huge and absolutely could be the deciding factor. I think DLP opting to go ahead and utilize a cloud to not play a level actually has hurt him here. Hopefully DaveLindo decides to go ahead and just play it again. Unfortunately, the Fire Brothers are just a little bit too rascally for him today, and we'll see if he changes his decision here. He has decided to fight fire with fire, and that will be the end of the brothers, and that is the second hammer. So just like that, DaveLindo was looking for a possibility of another item. He has gotten it, and we'll go ahead and move on to the top. That is a Paradox Pipe. And he says, you know what, I don't really want to play that Boomerang Brother, I'm not going to. So he decides to play his lost level and will be chasing down DLP as fast as he can. Meanwhile, DLP316 will be moving on to the fight with Roy. Now it seems as good a time as any to go ahead and guess which world's coming up next. Personally, I think World 7 is a very good option. I think that that is going to be my guess. I think a little bit of a maze pattern would be a lot of fun here. Meanwhile, DaveLindo is currently going through World 1-4. As you can tell, it is not a auto scroller. We've decided to turn those off. They just take a lot of time, and nobody likes an auto scroller. Let's be honest here. Except for two. We have 5-9, which is also known as Diagonal Doom, and Atlantis, which is called the Watery Death, and that is a brilliant. That's all. Those are the only two auto scrollers that we allow. And just like that, at 18 minutes, we have DLP316 finishing up World 4, and we'll be finishing or starting the next one here in just a moment. Got a couple guesses for 7, couple guesses for 2. Callus, Wed Wiz Wobby, and myself were all correct. That's a first. Usually if I guess, I'm wrong. And just like that, we have a few pipes to start with. 4, but only 2 available on that bottom left-hand island. I like to think of them as the 7 continents. So right now, DLP316 leaving Europe, checking to see what's next. It looks like he has gone down to Africa. Does not play the fortress there. I think that's a little bit interesting. DLP does not like to play a fortress if he doesn't have to. He does have one hammer. We'll see if he decides to play it and where he decides to play it. Okay, Wed Wiz Whoa. I do apologize. I think I've mispronounced that every single time I've said that, but I will do my best now to remember that. So 1 and 2 are left. 2 very, very practical situations for a hammer, as well as 7. Honestly, I think if I'm Dave right now, I am very curiously looking at the lock that's there in South America. It looks like he is not going to go ahead and break it. He's going to probably play a few levels here first. Really looks like he wants to know what's going on, and rightfully so. I mean, there is a 3-fort Monty, and he's going to have to try to go through that and figure out what's right, because there's a very good possibility that any one of the 3 forts could be required, or I guess it's also possible that none of them are required, but that purely depends on what's on the very last island down in Australia. So at this point, I am very curious to see what happens. We have a little bit of a divergence so far. DaveLindo playing Fortress 2, or I'm sorry, World 2's Fortress, and looks like DLP316 did break a lock, but so far nothing. He got a mushroom house. What else does he get? Oh, the suspense is killing me. Okay, it looks like we do have DLP316 as the first runner into the land of Asia and Australia, which of course is the 3rd island set in World 7, and DLP316 currently going through World 3 F1, and is taking on his fight with Boom Boom, who does have wings but won't be allowed to use those. Human Mustard apparently really likes the number 4, and he's blaming it on his keyboard, so we'll check in on that later. And okay, so DaveLindo has already figured out what the correct fortress is, and he just has to get to Australia. So DLP316 knows the way. DaveLindo knows the right fortress. They just don't know it. Although DLP316 will be figuring that out here in just a moment. And hopefully DaveLindo does figure this out in very quick time, because there's only 1 fortress left to play, and he has 3 hammers. I'm thinking at this point, I think he has 3 hammers. It's at least 2, maybe 3. And I'm hoping that he realizes the hammer or the lock doesn't break, but that is the route. So, it's just anybody to guess at this point. Although, no, I apologize. So, the fortress that DLP316 just played, World 3's Fortress 1, in the top right-hand corner, the left-hand side of Asia, actually does not have any requirements in this game. So now DaveLindo needs to go back. He has found out that the 4 block is broken, basically. So now if he can get back to where he was, go through that 4 block, which he should do here. And now he will probably find the Toadstool House first. And then next he will find the Asian, or the land of Asia. And then that will be, of course, the bridge that takes him to Australia and to the Master of Mayhem, the maestro of mystery, the conductor of chaos, the very own, the only one, Ludwig von Koopa. DaveLindo playing pretty strategically here. Decided to go ahead and utilize a star. He does find World 1's second level. So once you finish that World 1's first level that we saw just a few minutes ago with an Angry Sun, you do come across the Green Acres of World 1's second level. Human Mustard, if you think that's annoying, you should see what it's like for the rest of us. No, I'm just kidding. The Orchestrator of Atrocity, I like that. That's very nice. I'll have to use that at one of these times. That's very good. I like that. The Orchestrator of Atrocity. The Arbitrator of... No, I don't know. Anyway, so we have DaveLindo currently finishing the Power Rana level, and DLP316 just chasing him down. What a game of cat and mouse. This is so close, and I did not see what Dave got. We'll see here in just one moment, because DLP316 just got it. DaveLindo now equipping a tail, and he is going to be onto World 6's airship. The clip here is going to be a little bit tricky for him. We'll see if he goes for it. He does not get it, unfortunately. Definitely a complicated one for sure. DLP316 does not get it either. Orchestrator of Obnoxiousness. Conductor of Calamity. Disc Jockey of Death. Man, you guys are great at this. I love it. I'm going to have to move over. You guys can come on, take this over. Ooh, high jumping Ludwig. He does not have Earthquake like normally would be expected, but this is a flat arena. So both of these guys do have a tail. DaveLindo does not go for the off-screen one grab. Neither does the DLP316. Oh, what do we have? Like a 5-second difference here? Now, I believe the prediction was set up for 1 or 2. So if you got your predictions out for 1, that is coming up here in just one moment. If you got it for 2, again, still coming up. Do you get benefits if you take over? You get the complete benefit of knowing that you have had a great time with a lot of really cool people in chat, and that really makes it worthwhile, if I'm being completely honest. I look forward to this stuff all the time, all throughout my day. Like, I knew I was commentating tonight, and I just got really excited because I like being here with you all. I love the... Ooh, World 2 is going to be basically free, and both players doing the exact same scenario. Folks, that was, if you missed it, that was World 2. World 2 basically did not exist. So the prediction was absolutely World 2, but we're going to be in World 1 here in just another 45 seconds. Okay, now we're getting deep. We've got the Writer of Woes, very nice. Beethoven of Beethoven of Bedlam, the Impresario of Insanity going down, the Muskorsky of Mayhem. And the sync is absolutely beautiful. It is... I got goosebumps. I don't know about you all, but I literally have goosebumps right now because these guys are just that good. And I got nothing else to say about that. I really don't. These guys are blowing this out of the water. DaveLindo may be able to take a bit of an advantage here. He does have a second hammer. So that is going to be about a level's lead for Dave. This is Dave's chance to turn it around. Oh my. DLP316 though, no slouch. He is blowing through 5F2. That is not going to be an issue much longer for him. Boom Boom is just 3-shot, 2-shot, 1 shot away from being out of there. And now he's going to be moving on as well. DaveLindo, that boss pass Bertha, get out! Okay, I'm not going to lie, that scared me just a little bit. I thought he was going to take a death there. He does get through it. The damage boost lasts just long enough. He is now through the level. DLP316 just started. And now, that's going to be a hammer onto the lock. And I wonder if he uses the Cloud Gear. I think he does, absolutely. Take a flower and say goodbye. Oh, Tanuki suit, that works too. Go ahead and say goodbye to the Siege Bros. Oh, very nice, fancy footwork there. I like it, I like it. From our feathery friend. He was able to take out the Siege Brother before he even got up to the second level. That is going to be a music box. World 7 is over. Not going to be used, but he was in the way, therefore he did have to go down. And that's going to be our very last airship. And World 8 is coming up next. The prediction is in. How many bridges to Bowser's Castle? This has been such a jet seed so far. These guys are just blowing this away. I'm saying 0. We're going hot take here. I think it's 0. And we will see if we are right here in just one moment. DaveLindo now the very first one out of World 1, which was World 7 this time. And he is going to be moving on to the fight with Bowser. Now, he has got to finish this off. All right, and we are back. World 8, he has got to keep the pressure on. He has got to keep the fight going. He has got to find Bowser first. He has got to get through the castle. He has got to take that big scary lizard down and protect the princess, find her saber keeper, and be done. I don't believe I've seen a hammer suit yet. Fire, words are fun. Fire flower kill is definitely a possibility. It's too close to call. It is just too close to call at this point. And yeah, we talk about this being the great equalizer, blah, blah, blah. Really, the only thing that matters at this point is Bowser going down. And that's all. Boom Boom takes 3 shots, that's it. DLP316 opts to play the exact same fortress. He will be taking a tail into the fight. Not a bad idea. He does get through the swamp with the P-Speed and will be going on to the elevator. DaveLindo now finds 3F2. I like this idea. Play the fortresses, don't come back, don't worry about it, we're fine, go, do it, get done, because if there's that possibility of 2 or 3 bridges, which there is, we haven't seen Bowser yet, we don't know yet. So until we know what the bridges are, all fortresses technically are required, and since hammers are now, I believe, out of the equation, it's just whoever gets there first. DaveLindo now fighting and doing his best to get through. And that's 3F2 for him. So DLP316 on his tail. And he will be taking on his fight with Boom Boom here in about 30 seconds. DaveLindo now going back to the first pipe. Wants to leave no stone uncovered for sure. And finds himself in the dark room. So he's going to be looking around. No, not very far. And is going to go back and look at the other pipe. Maybe see if it has a few more answers to the questions he's asking. Mainly like, what do I need to do to take on Bowser and beat him? DLP316 just finished off 3F2. Now Dave finds himself in the L. We do know where the other 3 fortresses are, so not a whole lot left here. Dark room. Oh, and an unfortunate hand grab. We'll watch Dave take an early exit here on one of our beta levels. And no big deal. That's perfectly fine. He gets grabbed a second time. Very unfortunate. Hopefully he gets through this next time. Before too long, DLP316 is caught up now. And, oh no. Is this race going to be decided by a hand level that will not let DaveLindo go? 4 times. DLP, of course, taking that early exit as well. Maybe the better prediction is, how many times does Dave get grabbed with a hand? Come on, Dave. Okay, looks like both runners have decided to opt out and go the other way. DaveLindo having some frustration there. Hopefully he puts that aside. This game is still anybody's. It is so close. It is too close to call. DLP316 finding a second panel and a 1 panel. And DaveLindo finding the exact same thing. He's decided he doesn't want to play that second panel. And he has a fire flower and a mushroom, but he is not going to play either of those. Oh, not enough clearance there for him. So he does unfortunately have to play this level again if he decides to do it. Yeah, definitely a very tough break for DaveLindo. Unfortunately, that does mean he is now about a half level behind, and he is going to have to play catch up now. So unfortunately, at this point, it is anybody's game, and DaveLindo is going to play. Well, DaveLindo will probably find out here in just one moment what DLP now knows, and that is that the 2 levels, or at least 2 fortresses are required that haven't been seen yet, and those are on the hand bridges. So 2 bridges required. Oh goodness. Both remaining forts are required. Or I'm sorry, there's 3 required and only 2 are actually necessary, and I believe it's the 2 on the other side. The question becomes now, who gets through the hand bridge? DLP does. DLP316 first through the hand bridge. We'll see if he's able to keep that up. Air Force is the very first fortress that we're going to need that's required. DLP316 making his way through, or I'm sorry, DaveLindo making his way through 1-6. I think a really good decision here is if Dave has to play it. Dave has to play it, but I think a really good decision here is because you know where Bowser is now at this point. Well, no, he'd still have to play a level. I was going to say if he took a game over, then he could be back at the beginning. Unfortunately, the beginning doesn't take him to Bowser, though. So now Dave has to go through 2-1. Does so, no problem. Now he has to find the Air Force, and he's about to find the tanks, the super tanks. So the super tanks are the gatekeeper to Bowser's castle. And unfortunately, it looks like for Dave, the time is running out. So Super Tanks is going to take DLP no time at all. Air Force taking Dave just a little bit of time. He does have to play a little cautiously as small Mario. Man, what a great race so far. Just unfortunate 4 hand grabs from Dave in the very last moment. It may be the factor. Now, hopefully, the difference between 2-1 and possibly whatever the other hand level is could be the difference. So DLP may have to play these. Looks like he's going to go ahead and take an early exit. We'll see if the hands grab him again. They have. 2-1 hands grabbed him again. Does he play it? Does he continue on? Looks like he is going to play it so far. Opting to take a star. Dave opting to go back and look at Bowser. I'm not sure what that's about. Oh, very unfortunate there for him. There were 2 bridges. He's only played 1 fortress so far. The other icon was not a fortress. It was World 1-6. So he does have to play the super tanks. Meanwhile, DLP316 is counting down the clock. We've got a tick-tock on the clock right now. And DLP316 now through it. That is going to mean the fight with Bowser is coming up here in just one moment. And DaveLindo, unfortunately, just not quite quick enough. DLP316 now taking the Fire Flower. He is going to be going for, I think, the top of the escalator clip. Does not get it this time. Dave now going back to see where Bowser is at. This time the bridges will be opened. He will take the final Fire Flower that he has, and the fight to Bowser's castle begins. Looks like DLP having just a little bit of trouble with the Everyman's clip, and the bottom of the escalator clip happens. He's going to be taking the stair steps up. Get out of the way of that hot foot. Nobody needs it. A little bit of an issue with the clip there. DLP does have the mac and cheese clip. Does he take damage here? Because if he takes damage and DaveLindo does not, if he gets the mac and cheese as well, if DaveLindo does not take the damage to Bowser, we got 2 mac and cheeses. Oh, 2 mac and cheeses. Come on. Okay, so Bowser has just a little bit to go. DLP does not take damage from the Bowser jump. That is going to spell the end of it, and that is going to be DLP316's second win of the night. Folks, get your GGs out in chat. What a fantastic run from both sides. You love to see it. What a well-fought, hard-fought, very good matchup. And congratulations to your champion of Group L, the undefeated DLP316. I actually don't have a voice. I didn't have a voice to start, but I definitely don't have a voice now. Let me get you the official times here. I have invited the 2 runners to come speak with us. I think we all want to hear what they have to say. All right, we're still checking to see if we can get them in for an interview. The official race times for you. DLP316 coming in first place with a time of 36:13. And DaveLindo finished in second place with a time of 36:25. I am now joined on the comms booth with DLP316. Congratulations, very well played. DLP, I believe you do have your mic muted currently. We'll get him here in just one moment.
Oh, there we go.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
I have a little to no voice left. What a race.
Yeah, that was that second one's a close one. Both those seeds kind of sucked. The first one, like I had like six hammers and like no good place to use them. World 6 just kept going on and on. World 8 stunk. I had to double cloud Atlantis, which I probably thought that was a bad idea. Then the second seed, I got lost in World 7 there for a minute. But other than that, World 8 just kept going on and on. And I was like, oh, of course, the hand bridge, of course. So, but yeah, I thought I played pretty good. Like I don't think I really died unintentionally. So it's always good.
We did have a quick question for you. Human Mustard, Midi Guy DP, and a couple of others were wondering, in the very first seed, you saw Air Force in World 8, and you immediately noped out of it, and then you ended up coming back and playing it again. What was your thought process there?
So there was a lock there that I had hammered, and I thought that I had already gone into all the pipes, so that would mean that the Air Force, that was the only progression. I thought it was the only progression, and I already hammered it, so I thought that like that was going to break the lock, like guaranteed, because I didn't realize that there was another pipe that I hadn't gone into, so that's why I did that.
Okay. You were talking about just a moment ago the hammers and not having a really good place to use them. And I actually kind of wanted to touch on that for a brief moment because in World 5, you decided to skip a level in the second seed that was right after a fortress, put you right at the pipe. It was at the bottom on the left-hand side. That ended up being the second hand stage with the sushi fish, and the prize was actually a hammer. So that hammer ended up leading into World 1, where you ended up playing 5F2, blew it away, by the way. And DaveLindo actually went on, played 1-5 wherever, like the 1-5 block, and then moved on. And actually got to World 8 about a level in front of you. The biggest difference, you guys played World 8 exactly the same, even down to Dave took like 4 tries to get through the hand level on the left-hand side of the dark room. You took like once, I believe, and then you both noped out of there. You went back around. Literally the time the leadership changed so many times back and forth in World 8, I think we all lost track at that point.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I'm excited to watch this one back. I don't think there have been too many like really close races, so it'll be a fun one to check out. That's for sure.
Absolutely, and that was mind blowing. I mean, it went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and it was a few times. Yeah, we literally had none. So if I sound gassed or anything else, for one, I'm actually getting over bronchitis right now. For two, it literally was that exciting of a race.
Good. Well, I'm glad we were able to put on a good show for everybody.
Absolutely, and I think it's best summed up in something that Pro8 just said in chat, and that is that you are now currently the #1 seed with an average time of 33:12.
Oh wow, cool. Yeah, going into this, I wanted to put up some lower to average times because I figured I would be close to a 1 seed if I did that, and then I got like 236s, so I didn't really know. But yeah, it's awesome, cool. Of course, that can change. Other people could get better average times, of course.
Well, I certainly didn't do you any favors tonight. I am the one that rolled both of your seeds, so I guess I'm sorry. I'm not really, but I'll say it anyway. But to give you an idea of, and chat, really, an idea of how impressive that is, because it is impressive. It absolutely is impressive. But to give you an idea of exactly how fantastic that is, there are currently 3 runners that are currently done and have become undefeated. That's you, Mitch Flower Power, and Macobra. And right now, it's Mitch Flower Power in third, Macobra in second, and you're in first with the seeds.
Well, that's very good company that I'm in. I didn't know who those names were at first when you said that. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's gonna be fun once we get to the brackets. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't think you've rolled some seeds for me for a while, so it was nice to get that Growlwolf difficulty back or length.
Well, it certainly is back. I've been a part of, oh goodness, probably 8 races now, 8, 9 races, something like that. And I'm going to be a part of, I think, DaveLindo and JLo tomorrow. So yeah, I've had a lot of long seeds so far, and I don't foresee that stopping anytime soon.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks for the commentary, SpeedGaming for streaming it, and everybody watching. It's pretty much all. Don't have any other thoughts, so I really appreciate it again.
Absolutely, and we really appreciate you as well. Thank you so much for being a part. We definitely look forward to seeing what comes next for you.
Yep, take care.
All right, folks, that is going to be it for us tonight. As always, tomorrow night, we do have 2 more races as part of the group stages. The first one will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and that is going to be on this channel between Pro8 007 versus Leslie Pro_04. You're not going to want to miss that. Currently on commentary for that is the Crazy Dude, so that's going to be a good time. And then shortly afterwards at 10 p.m. on Eastern, again, on SpeedGaming's main channel, is going to be the second of the 2 races between DaveLindo and JLo7. So we did get a chance to see DaveLindo in action tonight, and we are of course looking forward to seeing that again tomorrow. And that is going to do it for us tonight. We really appreciate you all being here with us. Also, if you are not already following all of SpeedGaming, we definitely recommend that. They put on a lot of really great content, a lot of races, a lot of randomizer runs. A lot of what we do is in part and really a huge credit to them, because they do a really good job of keeping things going. And they are doing a Pokemon Emerald run here in about 6 minutes as part of the No Kid Hungry Marathon. I do recommend that you do check that out as well for the night. And if you do have a subscription that you could possibly give to that, I do highly recommend it. It is a great worthy cause for a great channel, and it will go a long way to assist with that. And for that is all we have for tonight for you all. We want to say thank you to SpeedGaming for putting this on, for hosting us, for you all in the chat for being here. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you all, and we definitely do appreciate you spending your evening with us. There's a lot of things you could be doing, but you're here with us tonight, and we do appreciate that. On behalf of the entire SMB3 Randomizer community, SpeedGaming, DLP316, DaveLindo, the groups, as well as me, your commentator, Growlwolf, we want to say thank you. Have a great night. Keep racing, keep randomizing. Take it easy.